After 2 years at sea, we finally hauled out Yabá to uncover the hidden damage of the deep. To everyone's surprise, she looks clean. But in the shipyard, clean is just a mask. The real work is always beneath the surface. The clock is officially ticking. For 2 years, we've carried a list of things we couldn't do while floating. Today, that list becomes our reality. It's no longer one project at a time, it's every project all at once. Welcome to the first week on the dry. Our goal is simple, uncovering everything, from the rudder to the bowsprit. Nothing is off limits. We're going to see just how much we can break before we start to build. This is the madness of the shipyard, and we are right in the middle of it. Okay, after power hosing, most of the biological matter came off the hull except over here and mainly around the rudder area. Now our goal now is to clean all this without removing the anti-fouling we have on. Now we're going to use it as a base to keep adding on top. It would be a shame to scrape so hard that a lot of this comes off and that we'll lose layers. So what we're going to do now is carefully but aggressively somehow, don't know how, remove all of this, and especially here. The tools we have are spatula, hammer, a chisel. But let's get started. It's a perfect day to do this, nice and breezy. It's high tide, so everything is just going to drop into here. Hopefully not my tools, the barnacles, and I don't know, let's get this hull even cleaner and get working on it. Yeah, see, blue stay, good news. The worst of it was around the rudder. The metal parts weren't coated with anti-fouling, so that's where most of the growth built up. Definitely something we'll be doing differently this time. One thing I know that we're going to have to do, except for the painting of the anti-fouling, and of course there's always going to be something else to do, but the main thing other than that is when we built the boat, it was new wood, quite dry. So when we planked everything together, caulked it, added the caulking compound, it was quite tight. We tightly caulked it. Then we launched, spent about 2 years on the water, and of course the caulking planks swell. And what happened in some places, very few places, is that the caulking compound or the caulking gets pushed out. In lots of places it creates a little bubble like this, which is kind of fine, and over here. But in this place, for example, and a few others, I've seen that it pushed out. So I think we're going to remove this caulking compound, maybe do a bit of recaulking here, and then we'll just fair it and place some anti-fouling and all the necessary primers on top of that. Not many, just mainly here. I don't know why actually. On the other side I hardly saw any, so that's going to be a little job as well. Just because it looks like this doesn't mean water comes in. The bit that's coming out here is just the epoxy compound. If you think about it, the caulking cotton has been hit in there, which was already tight, and then the planks squeeze that together to make it even tighter. The epoxy compound on the top is just the sealing of that. Except for that rudder area, like we said when we lifted, that's practically the only thing that's really dirty. Doing good so far, very, very happy. Nothing that can't be solved quickly. What is it, Licky? Now that we're on land, we have had the welder over to come and have a look at the stainless rings that are going around here, so that shouldn't be a problem anymore. That's the only reason we were leaving these down here for now, and also just to wait until we were lifted. So now we're lifted, let's get these onto the boat. If I've done this right, these should be able to be carried just by me on my shoulder and up the ladder by one person. Or I'm just super strong. Yeah.
Easy.
Easy peasy. Yep. Ah. You can see the gap for the main mast fits perfectly over here. I've left a little bit of space for, of course, some leather. This one I'm already going to start rounding. I'm not going to do anything to it. This is a moving part which I don't want straight onto a threaded bar, so I'm going to put a little stainless pipe in the middle of that to make it a bit bigger. The threaded bar fits through, but I've already suspended it temporarily with the mainsail halyard over here, and look at that. It works like a charm. Of course, this sail is going to get removed. We're not going to have this stay here anymore, as the sail's not going to be fastened onto here, but it's going to be looped around the mast. How cool is that? I'm very happy to have these on the boat, and not only on the boat, I just thought it was a cool thing to suspend that one with any lines we had up the mast anyway.
In case you're lost about why we made it back to the shipyard, the thing is, the bottom paint, the anti-fouling that we put was at 24 months ideally. So after 2 years we knew that we would leave the boat to have a look at how the bottom was looking for the first time. So that was number one. Then also, in the meantime, we've been working on changing our rigging to gaff. And there's no better place than being in a shipyard so we can bring the wood up and down. We started building them on board while floating, but of course it's way easier being here. Also because we need more wood. The shop is right here. We need a welder. It's just next door. Like, we have many contacts here at this shipyard, not just the guys from the shipyard, but everyone on the street has done at least one thing for the boat during the 4 years that we were here earlier. So we are here mainly for the bottom paint and the gaff rig. But then, as we are here anyway, you know how it goes. But we don't want to stay long, that's the one thing, because wooden hulls, they don't like being dry once they were wet. So we really are running against the clock for the health of our hull. It wouldn't be ideal to stay here too long. So we are really trying to call everybody that can help us to do this as quick as possible. We have a lot of competent people around us, and I'm really optimistic that, I'm not optimistic, I know that Yabá will leave this better than she arrived.
The mission today, well, one of the missions today is to get us lifted all the way to the top there so that they can lift a smaller fishing vessel behind us. You would think that for us to show the progress, it would all have to be chronological. You remove something from the engine, you get a new one, you install it, project done. We're going to tackle things differently to get things done faster. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the quadrant, we're going to have the welders over to have a look at the boat for the many things, and the gaffs. We are going to remove stuff from the engine. We are also going to remove these spreaders from the mast. Today is going to be the day that we are going to round up all the projects that we need to do, get all the materials ordered that we need, so that later when we work on those projects, oof, MP just threw a carpet and it all blew into my face.
Sorry.
Anyway, we're gonna get everything ordered so it's either on its way here or here already, so that when we work on the projects, there's no interruptions. Okay, everything's being put on hold now. At least I know that. Nico knows that, but he's just scraping some varnish there under that tarp. But inside the boat, people don't know. It's gonna be a nice surprise when the boat starts moving all of a sudden.
I thought we didn't have earthquakes in Brazil.
Did they get a shock?
Yes.
Yeah?
My dad thought the Jenga failed and we were falling.
This thing. So you can see they use a system of pulleys. There's triple pulley to make the weight of the boat seem a lot lighter on the winch. It goes a lot slower. They lifted us to the maximum of those 2 pulleys last time, and they pulled one up here to pull us this far. And they're going to leave us here now, which is good because now we can have access to the stern of the boat without having to stand in the water. The next boat isn't going to be lifted soon, so they're just going to leave us here for now. When the next boat's about to be lifted, I think they'll do all the hassle, because imagine the weight of that, of moving, how would that be? Lifting that one all the way to the top and then stretching out all these wires again. Being at the yard or in front of the yard, our list just got bigger. What happened?
We were moored to the orange boat. I don't know if it was away from a ship or just wind. We hit them and broke this light. Can you see it's cracked? So yeah, to the list, replace this one.
Be careful, don't fall.
It's not the ocean down there, is it?
I know. Okay, let's hope we can just replace the glass, otherwise you have to replace...
The plastic's also broken.
So what? There we go. Tip for you guys, don't crash against steel tugboats.
We got asked what time we felt more nervous about lifting Yabá onto the dry, if this one right now or the first one back in the past. And if my memory is not failing me, I think this time I was way more nervous. Maybe I should look at the footage of the first time to check my nervous level, but this time I just felt that we had so much more at stake. Like if something went wrong, we would be losing so much more. And the first time, Yabá was already a sinking mess, so if something broke while lifting, we were here already for a long transformation anyway. But this time, we just really want to do some quick upgrades, so we really cannot afford to break anything. So I was feeling way more nervous, even though I know the place, I know the guys, I trust them fully. I was feeling way more nervous. But everything went smoothly and I'm very happy about it. I just cannot lie and say that I was very chill, because I wasn't. I was here trying to look for scars of the names we wrote, and I can see here with a lot of imagination A-B-U-E, Abue, which was a way of bringing my grandpa, who didn't make it to the end of the rebuild to see the results. So this was a way of bringing him with us on our trip, even though he'll always be in our hearts. I wanted to put him on Yabá still too. He always loved boats, and I really, really, really wish he was there to watch Yabá go back to the water. Tomorrow it would have been his birthday, and of course I'm thinking a lot about him. He always loved boats, and it would have been such a dream come true to take him for a sail on my own boat. It wasn't possible on that way, unfortunately, but he's with us, and I know that no matter what.
A perfect thing to do on a day like this, because we are already in the cleaning mode after power hosing that hull. It's just giving or freshening up a little bit this engine room. During the last year and a half, 2 years on the water, we have been working a lot in here, making a lot of dust and dirt, and we never really had access to unlimited water to clean it. Now we've got a hose running. I've drilled a 3/8 of an inch hole in the hull, which might seem strange to you, but it's very, very good just to make sure it all flows out. We did it before and plugged it, and it was so well done that we can't find where we plugged it. So I've done it again. I'm going to mark it this time. Anyway, we're going to just give this a clean. Got some cheap detergent, fresh water, a dish brush so I don't scrape my knuckles and everything, and let's get this clean-ish. Here is a little trick to figure out for you guys how actual or how delayed we are with videos. I'm here in the engine room, cleaning the engine room, and at the same time I'm watching France, Italy with the Six Nations. So you do the maths. Anyway, I'm gonna get cleaning. Got the hole in the bilge, bunch of detergent, washing up liquid, and a good scrubbing brush. Over there I have got the screen, and this is just so that whoever's working in the engine room next, it's clean, and also let's just do this bit by bit and more frequently. I'm going to give this a break because it's coming in faster than it's draining and just filling up with some dirt. It's mainly sawdust. I don't know what's in these corners. Maybe it's still from the build or something. But I think it would be nice to get some degreaser over everything. And once the degreaser has been put on, we can maybe cover it with another layer of white paint. Now I'm focusing mainly on just the hull so we can sit here, work here properly. But I'm going to do a proper engine clean as well. Get a nice sponge, a brush, some top-up paint, and do the engine as well, because that's also suffered a lot over the last 2 years. I might have said it before, but I feel like an engine room shouldn't feel like an engine room. It should be nice and not cozy. It's never going to be. It's always going to be loud and a bit smelly than the other rooms, but make it at least as comfortable as possible to be in, because if it's comfortable to be in, you will be here more often to do maintenance, checkups, fixing, and so on. So that's definitely a plan to do parallel to the other jobs, the other few jobs we have on the land. Okay, tape.
Tape urgently. Let's not lose that one.
Let's not lose that. The reason this is removed is while the other jobs are being done, Orlando, Lucas and Gons are passing wires from here, in this case the 220 panel, to the workshop and to the bow locker. And that's a really nice job for them to do, because I really don't want to do it, because you have to crawl under the wardrobes, go against the, what's it called, the beam shelf, all the way to the bow locker. Guns, you're being filmed, pretend you're working hard. These guys don't have a camera on them, but I'll come and show their positions now and then. So we're pulling a 220 volt wire. Sorry, I'm not going to involve myself in this. They're pulling a 220 volt wire from behind the switch box all the way to the bow locker, because then we have a 220 here, well, in the kitchen area. We'll have one over here by the workshop, over here, and then we'll have one in the bow locker just in case we need it. But it's always a hassle pulling the wires all the way through, especially on a long boat like this. How was that?
This panel is original and the holes don't really fit our needs, so ideally we're gonna play around with this, make it better so we can install our new VHF right here. So we're gonna play around with the position of those, and ideally this is done here because well, we're gonna be unplugging all the bilge pumps, but also because there are more people in the team. It's not just Ben and I and the dogs. We have my dad, Lucas, Gons, the carpenter, so there are many things that we can do while being at the shipyard, and this is one of them.
Still at the very beginning of the boat being lifted, and we want to get this off because this is something we want to get sent off to do, and the sooner you get everything sent away, the sooner it comes back and you don't have to worry about it. If you start waiting with these things, you'll end up delaying your launch day because of it. So we're going to remove this, we're going to modify it so the wire doesn't attach here, the dyneema, but it goes all the way to the other side and hugs it, and that's going to keep the whole steering system a lot tighter. A lot of the things I'm going to try and explain to you guys might not make sense when I'm telling you, but once this is ready and redone, also it's cracking in loads of places, and I don't trust it anymore. Once they are all done, you will see what we are doing all this for. Quick thing, in many ways I prefer steel or galvanized steel to stainless because it kind of just rusts from the outside to the inside and gets thinner and thinner and thinner, as opposed to stainless. It can have micro cracks in it, and before you know it, the whole thing just falls off. And we have noticed some small cracks already. They have been welded a few times, but it's just going to get worse and worse. And this is something that we really depend on, and we're going to modify it so it can fit our new autopilot. The process of this theoretically is very easy. We remove the screws or the nuts on each side, get the threaded bars out and pull it off. But these have been on for 2 years in salt water. This has got Sikaflex or polyurethane glue under here. So let's see how easy it actually is going to be. Let's start by unscrewing the correct one. Everything has gone quite okay. This side is loose, it's unstuck, but this side will not get unstuck. So we are hammering, doing everything we can. Wedges. So what we're going to try now is the heat gun. Hopefully that deteriorates the glue or the polyurethane, and we can then hammer it off. Huh? All it needed was a little bit of encouragement. I'm going to take it next door. I'm using my little brain with their big brains to figure out what we can do with this, what's worth reusing, what's bad, and what we're going to do to get the wires to pass, the lines to pass around the outside. So let's get this next door where we were docked up against last week and see what they can make out of this. So we've ordered fiberglass, we've ordered a few pieces of wood, we've got the stainless guy coming to do the rings for the gaff, we've got the mechanic coming, we've got someone coming for the prop and prop shaft inspection tomorrow. Loads of things have been able to be done today. Also at lunchtime we're going to a shop to go and check out for the lines, for the halyards of these sails. Look at that beauty over there. But now I think I'm going to remove these spreaders because they are completely rotten and cracked. They're not structural spreaders, they're just there so I can stand on them and also fasten lights on, antennas, anything. But we're going to remove them just so I can measure the size of wood we need so that I can order wood to make new ones. This was a job I was dreading because I knew it was going to be harder than it looked. It actually went pretty well, but that one, the front mast, it's nailed on with a nail that big, which I would have never done myself, not on a mast, if you see what I mean. It's just going to cause a weak spot. So at least we've got the spreaders down, or 4 half spreaders, which we can copy. We can order the wood. They look so much bigger on the boat than they do up there, and the masts look so much funnier. They remind me of the Dutch boatbuildings, the Dutch gaff rig boats. They just have like masts like this. Either way, very, very cool that this is done. I'm happy I didn't procrastinate anymore. From now on, we're going to make spreaders, also inspect and sand and inspect and epoxy, cover and varnish, whatever we have to, where the new spreaders are going to go, and make it nice and strong, and also make the spreaders nice and sturdy, not like the wobbly tilted ones that we had before.
That is looking so funny. It's like the masts are naked. It's really missing something.
To be honest, the spreaders don't have to be that big. I've seen some inspiration of spreaders that are just enough to stand on. Like, these are massive and they're not structural or anything.
I didn't know they were that big until I saw them down here, because up there they look normal, but then here they look massive.
So we'll see if we put the same ones. I think it's just...
I think it's small will look funny.
Not small, as wide, but they can be like 2 planks going across and 2 like that, so you can stand on it, mount some lights on.
But I'm sure this is a job that many of you are happy, because we got so many comments requesting that we replace those spreaders.
And also straighten the masts. That's one of the next jobs. And also, I would like spreaders that are sturdy enough that we can make most of the top mast to put a topsail on.
A topsail?
A topsail, yeah. We'll
So
see
like
how
a
that
5th sail?
like a 6th and a 7th,
And a
then one
7th
under the
and an
bowsprit,
8th
like
and-
a square sail under the bowsprit.
We're gonna be the fastest boat ever, guys. Write that down. No, don't write it down.
The first week on the dry is always the loudest. It's a blur of grinders, heavy timber, and a to-do list that seems to grow every time we pick up a chisel. We spent the last few days stripping away all the old layers and finding exactly where we stand. We've broken what needed to be broken, we've uncovered the truth of the hull, and next week, through the madness, we start to put it all back together. Just one of my kiwi.